Okay, so real quick, I just want to say thank you. Okay, I want to get this part real quick so we can actually get on with the main part of the video, because I'm sure that this one might actually end up being my longest one yet. And I know I have said that twice already, but yeah, this time I genuinely do think this one could end up being the longest one. But I want to say thank you for the last video. Okay, without a doubt, the last one was the best vid that this channel has had, full stop. And even I think including my other channel, it could even be the best one that I've had. I don't really speak about the other channel because I try to keep them as two separate things. Will I mention it in the future at some point? Maybe, but yeah, either way, to those who know, you probably know what the other one's called. We do different sort of content there. It is still on YouTube, by the way, not like that far different, but yeah, it's one of those. I just want to say thank you, because this one, the last one, genuinely was incredible. I only wanted to get around 200 on that one. We got almost 300, and we got 3 new subs from that video alone. So, you know, if you're new, welcome. And if you're someone who's already been here before, then welcome back. What makes me so happy about that last video is because of the effort. The amount of effort that I put in to make sure that that one came out on time. And I genuinely do stick to this stuff of bringing out videos, you know, once every other week, a month. It's like I'm finally reaping the benefits of the hard work I put in. And I really do love that and appreciate it. So for each one of you who do watch it, it does mean a lot. So once again, to all those who are new, welcome. And honestly, I think the greatest W about it is that it's a video that I made on an indie game. Okay, like it seems as though the community is pretty hyped about Slay the Spire 2 just as much as I am having fun playing the game. So not only is that a W for me, but I think it's also a W for indie games and indie developers, and a W for the indie community, because hey, out of all videos for it to be Slay the Spire 2, fair enough. Love to see that. So we just had PlayStation State of Play, Xbox's Xbox Showcase, Nintendo Showcase, and Summer Game Fest, with Nintendo's one actually being the most recent one as of the time of recording this and the time of this going up. And from what we've heard, we've had some absolute banger titles that are either coming out very soon, if not coming out next year. We have a new God of War game, God of War Lorfe, in which we'll be playing as Faye, Kratos' wife. We got more gameplay on the Wolverine game that's supposed to be coming out, as well as more news on Marvel Tokon. We have news on a new Resident Evil game, as well as a new Silent Hill game, a Doom the Dark Ages DLC, Persona 4 Revival with gameplay, as well as an actual release date, and a teaser trailer for Persona 6. A new Cuphead game was announced, Alien Isolation 2, a new Lara Croft Tomb Raider game was announced, The Wolf Among Us 2 coming out next year, with a remaster of the original Wolf Among Us coming out this year, Stranger Than Heaven starring Tupac, yep, definitely going to be Stranger Than Heaven, a trailer for the new installment into the Virtua Fighter series being Virtua Fighter Crossroads, as well as a remake of Ocarina of Time and Kingdom Hearts 4, and last but not least, there's definitely going to be a game that I would have forgotten, but last but not least, the game that very much inspired this video today, being Until Dawn 2. Now, I'll be honest, this video was originally actually supposed to be at Until Dawn. However, I saw the price for it, didn't exactly want to break my bank account for this video, because this is going to be another one of those where I'm actually going to be playing the game. So I said, well, if we can't play the game itself, why not do the next best thing? And the next best thing, in my opinion, is the anthology of games that came out that was very much inspired by Until Dawn itself. We are talking the Dark Picture series, and honestly, it's a valid shout. Okay, I mean, to be fair, recently, you know, apart from Until Dawn 2's announcement, we had obviously Directive 8020, but yeah, I thought, you know, why not play one of the games from the anthology? Now, if you can't already tell from the thumbnail and the video title, we're going to be talking about what I think, personally, in my opinion, is the best one of the original anthology. We will be talking about The Devil in Me. And one thing I can say about this game is that from the player base, this one is generally accepted as either the best, if not the second best, of the original anthology, with some normally putting House of Ashes above this one. I think it sort of comes down to personal preference, because I do think the two games are very close, and I think it also comes down to sort of, well, which of the games themes are you more into? Because House of Ashes looks at like a military group who go into an ancient temple, like a cursed ancient temple, whereas The Devil in Me is more so focusing on horror and sort of your classic horror tropes and whatnot. So stick around till the end, because we'll talk about the game itself, as well as how many characters I managed to keep alive in my playthrough of the game. And I just want to put this out there, if it actually means anything, I'm a fan of Corey Kenshin and Belize, so do with that information what you will. Now, when I originally played the game, or lied, when I originally watched the game, I actually watched Jeff play it, and I absolutely loved watching it. And in saying that, some of you may question, well, Genie, if you watched the game, isn't it very likely that you'll know which decisions to make and know which good decisions to make, whilst also knowing which bad decisions to avoid making? And here's the thing, I completely get the point, and there is some truth in that. But I would also want to advise you that when Jeff made those videos came out almost 3 years ago. Well, no, almost 4 years ago now. It's been over 3 years. Those videos came out almost 4 years ago now. So the likeliness, I'm not going to deny that there may be one or two decisions in this game that I end up making from memory, knowing that they're the right or wrong decisions to avoid. But I'm not going to act like I know every single decision to make, because quite simply, no, I don't. Okay, it's over 3 years ago. I don't even think Mike Ross could do that. Even in saying that, I think it's time that we finally get into the game itself. That is The Devil in Me. See, a bit about the game, or sort of the blurb of the game, if you will, the quick description of the game, is that we take a group of documentary filmmakers. They receive a mysterious call in which they're invited out to a modern day replica of the serial killer H.H. Holmes's quote-unquote murder castle. But upon their arrival, they soon discover that they're being watched and even being manipulated, and suddenly there's much more at stake than them trying to save the ratings for their show. However, before we actually get onto that and meeting the main cast and the people that we'll be playing as, I firstly want to divert us to the name that is H.H. Holmes. This is a name that we see appear quite a bit, mainly throughout the start of the game. And as mentioned, H.H. Holmes is a serial killer. And just real quick, I want to do a small history lesson. See, the name H.H. Holmes isn't being used for no reason at all. It's not like they've just decided and created this all within themselves as an original character. No, H.H. Holmes very much was a real life serial killer. He was actually who many Americans consider to be the first ever serial killer, with him having 9 confirmed victims. However, before his execution, he confessed to actually having 27 victims. However, there apparently seems to be some holes in his confessions, as some of the ones that he claimed to have killed were actually very much still alive and well. And sensationalized media went as far to saying that his kill count was all the way to over or close to 200. So it's nice to see that even back in those days, the media would the media was no strangers to exaggerating something. And all of this is mentioned in the game as well. So I don't want to give no effing credit to a serial killer, because F no. But it's very nice to see that the game tried to keep a lot of the stuff, sort of the details, closely linked to the actual historical context. Moving on from that, we start the game in the 1980s, okay? In the early ages, in which we notice a newlywed couple are coming to stay at the World's Fair Hotel. A newlywed couple are Jeff and Marie, and they're hoping to spend their honeymoon at the hotel.
4 feet, Jeff. Can you imagine it?
I'm attempting to.
I bet you can see for 100 miles at the top. We should make that our first priority.
Whatever pleases you the most.
You please me the most.
You mean you are not weary of me after an entire day of marriage?
I will never be weary of you.
I shall hold you to that, my dear. I think we've arrived.
Isn't this grand?
As advertised. Very nice. Let's check in.
Whilst waiting at reception, they eventually come face to face with the man himself, H. Holmes.
My sincere
Oh.
apologies for both startling you and for making you wait. My attention was needed elsewhere. I promise from here on out it will be nothing but silver linings. Welcome to the World's Fair Hotel. Please, sign in here. First time in Chicago? I'm going to hazard a guess and assume you're here to take in the exposition.
The fair, yes, but that's not all. Today is a very special day for us.
Oh, a honeymoon. How very, very lovely.
Who ends up checking the couples into the hotel, with the couples having no idea in mind what they're about to encounter or who they're even talking to. After some time of mingling with each other in their room, Marie decides that she wants to go have a bath. In the meantime, Jeff decides that he's gonna go shave up a bit, so he needs to go look for a razor blade.
Why don't you have a shave while I take a quick bath? Then we can reconvene.
I know that word. It's French for something illicit.
Shush. Shave.
I think I forgot to pack my razor and kit.
I'm sure the pharmacy downstairs has them.
Don't be too long in that bath.
Don't you worry.
In his time exploring, Marie, whilst in the bath, gets an unexpected guest at her door. They enter and Marie, thinking it's Jeff at the time, is given one of two options, and this is our first big decision of the game. Investigate or don't. And I decide to go investigate.
Is that you, darling? Jeff? Oh, are we playing another game? Okay, Mr. Sneaky. You can't sneak up on me, Mr. Holmes.
Hello, my
What are
dear.
you doing in here? Jeff!
I don't think he can quite hear you.
Stop! Get away from me!
They're not finished yet.
I said get...
Don't fight it. Will only hurt more if you do.
Just for it to be Dr. Holmes himself, and he slits her throat. As Jeff makes his way back, he notices Holmes there at the door with his wife in the back, dying in this bathtub. And as he tries to escape Dr. Holmes, he finds himself trapped in a room. In which Dr. Holmes decides to start filling the air in the room with a poisonous gas, which is now slowly killing Jeff. From there, Marie ends up crawling to the window on the other side of the window that Jeff is currently in, and this is where we have a husband watching his wife sadly bleed out to death, and a wife watching her husband slowly choke to death on a poisonous gas. Till death do us part.
You're wasting your last gas. I tell him that I love him.
Now, trust me, I was annoyed by this. I was so annoyed by this that I literally tried to look up if there was any way to even try and save them. And to my knowledge, I may be wrong, but I literally don't think there is. I think it's inevitable that they die. I thought that being a fan of Belize, his bad decision making was starting to flipping infect my ability to make logical decisions. Also, real quick, I want to take us back to this part in the game. Anytime that you see these black crows fly over the screen, it means that you've most likely made a decision that could possibly either end up saving someone's life or costing them their lives. You basically made a life-changing decision that you can no longer turn back on. And honestly, that's going to be pretty much the main premise of this game. A lot of it is going to be making very big decisions in which those decisions can end someone's life or save them. That's when we travel to the modern day, and this is when we meet the curator for the first time. He states his job, and his job is nice and simple. He is simply there to observe. He reminds us that even though he's simply watching, and he'll give assistance whenever we want it or whenever we ask for it, he's simply there to observe, and that we are the ones who are steering the boat.
Oh, you're here. Have you been waiting long? Welcome back. I do enjoy seeing a familiar face. Last time, no one survived. I wonder if you were even trying. It's so good to have company. For a long time, I was on my own. I can barely recall a time when I wasn't here, watching over these tales. And what good are stories without somebody to experience them? This is a story about those who create, and the lengths they might go to for their art to be made pure. Art can elicit all sorts of reactions: delight, inspiration, desire, yes, but also doubt, fear, dread. The way you react, the decisions you make, would affect this story. Hidden in the world, you'll find dark pictures. They give glimpses of the possible consequences of your choices. And sometimes it's the smallest choices that can have the biggest repercussions. You're responsible for what happens. You're culpable. I can't interfere. That's very much against the rules. I can only observe what happens and record any significant events. Oh. Ever seen one of these? They're very old. People used to call them obbles. They'd put them in the mouth of the recently deceased to pay the ferryman. Look out for them. You'll find them in the strangest places. I'll be happy to exchange any that you find, and I'll certainly make it worth your while. Well, shall we start? The game is afoot. I will be watching. 3, 2, 1, 0.
And that's when he sends us into the modern day in which we meet our cast for the very first time. So it's about time we meet our players. And firstly, we have Charlie. Charlie is the producer. He is in charge of Lonit Productions. And how can I describe Charlie? He's stubborn. I'm not even gonna say a bit stubborn. This guy is stubborn. He's hard-headed. And apart from someone who does frequently end up with bickering with Kate, he's a man that is truly married to the job. Then there's Kate. Kate's the one in front of the camera. She's low-key kind of fake. And like I say again, she's one that is often left bickering with Charlie because they don't really always see eye to eye, and was recently broken up with by Mark. Next is Mark. Mark is the cameraman. He's in control of the camera. I don't know what else to say. Mark is a pretty chill guy, seems to be generally level-headed and tends to try to be the voice of reason. He's actually also the one that, like I mentioned before, broke up with Kate. Jamie is next, and Jamie is in charge of the lighting. Jamie's the one that makes sure that Kate looks good in front of the camera. And, you know, apart from the fact that Jamie and Kate don't really get along too well, Jamie is sort of your classic rebel girl, okay? And is a fanatic for horror movies, so big fan, I must say. And side note, she does also have a bit of a crush on Erin. Finally, we have Erin. Erin is the newest member of the crew, or the most recent member of the crew, being someone who is now in charge of the sound and audio sort of stuff. She's also tend to often be left with Charlie's stuff. And overall, the girl is, I think, a genuine, nice and sweet girl, okay? She could genuinely be my favorite character, if not Jamie, but she is genuinely a nice and sweet person who I think just wants to make her mark, do her thing, feel like she's actually a part of the team by doing her point or doing what she's supposed to do.
I think we've heard quite enough.
Enough? Oh, I've barely begun, Your Honor. You don't seem to understand. I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer any—
Okay, hold on a sec. We just saw Dr. Holmes before. Like, we saw this guy at the start of the game. That ain't him. I don't know if I'll even show it, but throughout the game, there are many moments where I literally pause the game. And this is because one of two reasons. I often did it because it was a moment where I had to make a life-changing decision in which I was trying to sort of figure out in my head which was the best decision to make. Or it would be that the characters would do something extremely stupid in which now I'm questioning why the heck they even made that decision in the first place. And I'm pretty sure I did it here because of the fact that I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, look, he don't look like Holmes, but somehow he sounds like Holmes. And just when I think I was tweaking, we see Kate walk into the shot. And that's when we realize that these guys are actually currently recording a scene for their show.
Being dead ain't enough to stop me from killing again.
On May 7th, 1896, Herman Mudgett, aka Henry H. Holmes, was sent to the gallows. His neck did not snap from the force of hanging. Records indicate he hung, slowly suffocating for over 15 minutes, until finally, the monster was dead.
From there, we see all the guys, and like I said earlier before, we see that they are a part of Lonit Entertainment or Productions. I actually can't remember which one it is. And not soon after, we see Charlie get a call from a man called Mr. Dumet. And he offers these guys a very exciting opportunity. He offers these guys the opportunity to come to the live recreation of the murder castle that Mr. Holmes used to live in. Yes, we're talking the very murder castle, the World's Fair Hotel, the one that we saw at the start of the game. These guys get invited to a real life recreation or recreation of that hotel. He mentions that this is an opportunity of the lifetime and that the guys must decide very soon. He mentions that if they decide to accept, that there'll be a limousine coming to pick them up in, I think, like a day, if not like a few hours. And that's when we transition into seeing the guys outside, all waiting for this magical limousine to come through. And it does eventually arrive. It gets there. And once the guys get closer to the destination, Mr. Dumet asks that everyone hand in their phones. He mentions that he's a private person that doesn't want any noise of this getting out into the public, so he asks them all to hand in their phones, which Though all the crew were kind of skeptical of this, they kind of get it and are a bit understanding, so everyone ends up handing in their phone. And that's when we finally arrive and we finally get to meet the man himself, Grantham Dumet. And I'm not gonna lie, off rip, he's shady. Like, he's kind of sus.
That's weird.
Let's just play nice, okay?
Hello, Mr. Lonnet.
That's me.
I'm Grantham Dumet. Everyone climb aboard and we'll head out.
This is Mark,
Mark,
Erin, Jamie,
ladies.
and this is Kate.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Dumet. I'm looking forward to seeing all it is you have to offer. We truly appreciate this.
I can't thank you enough for this opportunity.
Of course.
Was it your great uncle you said that?
Let's get to where we're going. I'll explain everything later.
Sure, of course.
He seems like he's on edge, like something's agitated him. He's in such a haste just to get us into this mansion. It's almost as if he's hiding something. Either way, we end up having to take a ferry, in which that ferry takes us to the island that the mansion is on. And like mentioned before, some of the guys are already picking up on Dumet's very weird behavior.
Stay close. Stick together.
Is it dangerous here?
No, of course not.
You sure? Because you don't seem sure.
It's perfectly safe. But we are a long ways from help if somebody gets hurt, so please, take care.
Looks like things are buttoned up tight around here. God.
So Charlie has Kate fake an injury, in which he ends up sending Kate and Jamie around the mansion, or a different side of the mansion, to try and find or catch a glimpse of anything that Dumet is trying to hide.
And cut.
We really do need to get going.
Anything you say, Mr. Dumet.
This way.
You'll steal some more shots, right?
Obviously.
Mr. Dumet is being really restrictive.
I noticed.
I want you to get a look around without him knowing.
A man is entitled to his privacy.
He's cagey. I want to know what he's trying to hide.
Ah! Ow! Oh my... Damn it!
What happened?
You okay?
Ah!
You get your baby ego again?
We should get her up to the hotel.
Oh my... I can barely move it.
Jamie, stay with her.
Why me?
Because you know first aid. Remember how you patched her up? In Glendale?
Oh, right. Okay.
We'll find some ice and a bandage and come back. You have that at the hotel?
Yes, sure.
Then let's go.
What is going on?
Come on. I'll clue you in later.
Been taking acting classes again?
Yeah.
What's Charlie want?
A better lay of the land.
And we're the scouts because?
I'm charming, and you can hotwire your way past security. Come on.
And apart from almost having a run-in with the groundskeeper, they don't find anything sus. As the girls catch up with everyone, Kate notices, as everyone is starting to enter the hotel, a small girl in one of the windows. And then she's gone. Classic horror trope number one. And I'm not gonna lie, that's not gonna be the only classic horror trope we see. Okay, there's gonna be many more. We get inside and everyone's told to get comfortable, find their rooms, and then meet back up for dinner at 8 p.m. This is where we get some alone time between Erin and Jamie.
Shows what you know.
What is that?
Wine, genius.
I feel like if we start drinking, Charlie will find out and lecture me and make me feel like an asshole again.
Yeah, he does that. But we're not on the clock. Not until we're rigging to shoot.
Which is hard to do drunk.
I'm not suggesting we get full-on hammered before we work.
Why are you doing that?
I'm thirsty. Also, you're cute when you're worked up.
I don't... Cute? You think I'm cute?
After some flirting here and there, we're confronted with yet again another decision.
Yeah, just... we work together, and Charlie is always on me about being more professional, and...
I get it.
No, I mean, I'm not saying I don't appreciate it.
Aaron.
Or that I don't think you're cute, too. It's just,
Move in or lean away. At this point, I was genuinely in my own head trying not to sell this moment, okay?
What are you doing?
And decide to lean in. And just when I thought I sold,
oh my god. Oh, you bitch!
I'm just fucking with you. I wanted to kiss you for months. I just was scared to make a real move.
green. Here I am pausing the game, getting gas to myself, trying to convince myself that I'm some guy who knows Riz, just to then later on remember that I get 0 women and I'm single. So yeah, reality did set in pretty quick, but we still greened. And then we are interrupted by this bum Charlie.
Enjoying yourself out here like some sort of pervert?
Sorry, did I interrupt something here?
No, we're just talking shop. We're worried about the power grid handling all of our gear.
Yeah, yes. If this place is running on a generator, we need to know what it's putting out.
I don't care what you guys are doing.
Then why are you lurking?
I can't find my room, and I need a fucking cigarette.
These funny shapes are numbers. They go up and down in order.
Who firstly can't even find his own room, but also needs his cigarettes. Like, cigarettes, are you serious, Charlie? You ruined this intimate moment for some dumb ass cigarettes. Cool, bro, cool. So he ends up taking Erin away, as Erin's the one that packed his cigarettes, his damn cigarettes.
Oh, Erin, I checked my blue bag. No cigarettes.
That's where I put them.
Come and show me. Maybe one of us is colorblind and doesn't know what a blue bag is.
To be continued, then?
Yes, definitely.
And that's when Jamie looks out the window and she spots Dumet. But it's not alone. He's not alone. He's with the girl. Most likely to be assumed his daughter. But he's got on the ferry and he's going away.
Come on, let's go.
Where the hell are they going?
And it looks like he's off in a hurry, meaning their only mode of transport, their only mode of escape is gone. And we get one final glimpse where we notice that someone has been watching us in a mirror. And then we switch to Charlie, who has Erin rummaging around his luggage looking for these dumb ass cigarettes. Like, bro, I'm never gonna forgive him for this BS, bro. Yo. Either way, after Erin isn't even able to find them, they decide to go through the mansion because they're convinced that somewhere else in the mansion, there's probably gotta be a pack of cigarettes somewhere.
It's fine. Let's just get on with things. This place is massive. Surely there is a pack of cigarettes in here somewhere, even if they're ancient.
You need them that bad?
There was a bar off the lobby. There must be cigarettes in the bar, right?
I mean, technically, it's not legal to smoke in bars, so...
Come on, we're checking. If you find them first, all will be forgiven.
As we explore, we notice a letter from Dumet. The letter is to a man called Joseph Morello, inviting Morello and 4 other people of his choice to the mansion before it's opened as an exhibition to the public. This is because Morello is an author who has spent over 10 years of his life learning about H.H. Holmes and trying to separate fact from fiction. So Morello accepts the invite, inviting his wife, his 2 daughters, and his brother, making in total the 5 of them. Dumet stresses the importance that this information be kept a secret and that none of those people say anything about it. So they promise not to. And this is where I'm going to ask of you one thing. Please, please, please remember this name, Joseph Morello, okay? It's going to come back up a few times and yeah, it'll all make sense eventually. But long story short, just remember the name Joseph Morello. As we progress through the mansion, we end up in a bar where there's an old school animatronic there. And the animatronic ends up pointing to a machine that has one last pack of cigarettes in it. Now, after turning the machine on, we realize that the machine is asking for the exact change because I guess that's how they used to do things back in the day. No such thing as Apple Pay back then, so fair enough. And we end up getting money out of the register at the bar. We insert it into the machine and holders. And as we see Charlie trying to get the cigarettes out of this machine, hey yo, who's that? Hey bro, hey Charlie, you might want to turn around, bro. Sick. So we're dealing with someone who has the capabilities to teleport. Okay, classic horror movie trope number 2 then, I guess. Saved by Erin, Erin reminds him that it's almost time for dinner and that everyone should round up, or that they should go round everyone up to come into the dinner hall.
I'm still in the bar.
I think it's dinner time. We should get everyone else.
Okay, I'm coming. And I'm coming back for you with a fucking pry bar.
Are you alone in there?
This is where we switch to Mark, in which Kate comes in asking if they can record a couple shoots before dinner time and before Charlie decides to end up changing the script again.
Hey, had a thought on an intro segment.
You want to shoot now?
Yeah, if we get it shot and in the bank, maybe Charlie will stop rewriting everything I come up with.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
And then when we start to see the possible past relationship sort of start to get in the way of their work. And even though the group knows that Mark and Katie have broken up, the group is actually under the assumption that Katie broke things up with Mark and not the opposite way round, like it actually went.
Ark, why are you letting them all think I broke up with you? I feel like if Jamie knew the truth, she might back off.
I mean, they all just assumed.
I can't decide if that's sweet or selfish. Or both.
I'm not gonna lie, this is like the first L-Mans moment. Apart from Charlie was 1000% is an L-Mans moment. This is the first L-Mans one from Mark. Like, bro, you broke up with the girl and now you have everyone else under the assumption that she broke up with you. Like, bro, just tell the truth. This brother's dead out trying to farm sympathy. Either way, we explore through the mansion trying to get to the balcony, as that's where Kate thinks it will be best to record something. And in doing so, in exploring and trying to get to the balcony, we end up finding a book named Was He the Devil? The truth behind America's first ever serial killer by none other than Joseph Morello, where the blurb mentions that Morello has spent 15 years of his life sifting through fact and fiction about H.H. Holmes himself. However, I ask you to continue remembering the name Joseph Morello, because this isn't even going to be the craziest thing that we learn about this name yet. After some crouching, climbing, and moving things, we finally get the balcony keys and head there. But as we're just about to get to the balcony, we're reminded by Erin once again that it's almost dinner time, so everyone should come down and come meet in the dinner hall. Once everyone is gathered in the dinner hall, Jamie is the last one to arrive. And that's when Jamie decides to tell everyone that Dumet isn't coming for dinner, as she saw him leave on the very ferry that brought them here earlier.
Why?
He saw all the snide things you tweeted from his limo.
I didn't.
What are you talking about, Jamie?
He got back aboard the ferry and left.
What? When?
Right after we got to our room.
And then everyone starts to begin to get skeptical. Not just about Dumet though, but about the entire setup in general.
He just left.
You're sure?
Can't be. You must be mistaken.
I'm not blind. I know what I saw.
Why would he leave?
That makes no sense.
They're in a big-ass hurry. Guess you were right. There was some kid here.
I saw them together when I was looking for my room.
And to lower the tensions, Charlie decides to hold a toast to everyone here, essentially toasting to them for their contribution. And it surprisingly works. The tensions do lower.
Now, I would like to toast all of you. Really. I know that I'm the butt of your jokes, and that's just my cross to bear as the patriarch of our little family. Mark and Jamie, the two of you do the work of a team of 10. And Kate, despite our bickering, you are the heart of this show. You keep people interested. And finally, to our newest recruit, Erin, we would be lost without you. Who else could we trust to remember every little detail? Thank you all for your hard work. Cheers.
Cheers.
To us.
Mazel tov.
So, being that the mess that they're in, the guys just decide, F it. Let's make the best out of a bad situation and just decide to film anyway. So they start recording, or they decide to start set up to start filming.
I think she'll look best if we can really make the backgrounds look as creepy as possible.
Shouldn't be hard.
Does anyone else think it's weird Dumet hasn't showed up yet?
Yeah, I don't think he's coming.
What do we want to do first, Charles? You're the boss.
Thank you. I think it makes sense for us to start in the lobby. There's still decent light to work with, and it's symbolically where things would begin, in the murder castle.
With what lights already in there, we just need to set up a couple of our own.
We can make it look as if it were lit by gaslight.
Perfect.
What if Dumet shows up?
If he tells us to stop, I'm going to be having a strong word with him. He's put us in this position. All right, everyone grab what they need, and we'll meet in the lobby.
We switch to Erin, and this is when we have the next classic horror movie trope introduce itself. Because out of nowhere, we start hearing the sound of a crying child. So, what does Erin decide to do? The one thing that would be the most logical thing to do in a horror movie. Not in real life, but a horror movie. Follow the sound of the crying child. And this is when we use Erin's unique ability of the microphone to help her discover the source of the noise. Now, this is something that all of the characters in the game have. Each and every single one of the characters have a unique ability. Erin has her directional mic as well as her inhaler to help with any asthma attacks that she has. Mark has his camera as well as his monopod, allowing him to access and reach any higher areas that he himself can't reach. Kate has her pencil, which she uses to sketch over any paper that's been recently written over to uncover any hidden messages, as well as her amethyst crystal, which helps protect her in a protective layer, which can help speed or, well, I mean, slow down the events in the QuickTime events, essentially giving you more time. Charlie has his business cards as well as his tie clip, allowing him to unlock any cupboards, registers, and anything of that nature. And Jamie has her screwdriver, as well as her multimeter, allowing her to fix any fuse boxes that she runs into. Also, as we're exploring, we see a picture. And when we look at this picture, we get sent into a vision. In this one particularly, we see Erin being killed. These are known as premonitions, and these can only be accessed through paintings, or more so specific paintings. The premonitions are showing the result of one of the decisions you make. It can either be the result of a good decision or a good result of a bad decision. The main point is it just shows you the result of one. It doesn't really tell you what the heck. It doesn't give you any clue or anything whatsoever to help you know which is the right decision to make. It just lets you know in advance the result of one of those decisions. So even though they're great to see, they're also not great in the sense of they don't provide any level of help. Like, it's good knowledge to know, but it's not actually useful knowledge in the slightest. And then the lights go out and we end up in this room in which it's a rather unfurbished room, and we realize the noise that we, very easily was a trap and was bait was coming from the speaker of the back of this room. And as we try to leave, the door slams shut and the lights go out. This one could also possibly be another classic horror movie trope. I could be pushing it with this one, but depending on who you ask, I feel like, doors slamming shut behind you, pretty horror movie-esque if you're asking me. In the meantime, we switch to Jamie, who is actually trying to set up the lights because they're going to start recording in the lobby. However, when she's messing with the fuse box, she ends up sending the lights out. So she tries to go to repair them. After we unlock one of the doors, we use Jamie's multimeter to fix the fuse box, restoring the electricity. We get back and Charlie's in the lobby waiting and ready. And that's when we start to question where the heck is everyone else at. Obviously at this current time, no one knowing that Erin has just gotten herself stuck in one of the rooms. Okay, like Erin is currently locked up and ain't no one finna let her out. And that's when we hear...
Speak.
I'm about done. I can go round them up in a minute. What the hell?
There's Erin. So that's when Charlie and Jamie start running towards the scream, trying to go help save Erin. We switch back to Erin, who is once again stuck in this room, shut in the dark, and eventually we end up hearing Charlie and Jamie on the other side of the door, in which they end up meeting up with Kate and Mark. And this effect that you start seeing on the screen here,
Erin? It's okay. We're right here. You're not hurt, are you?
this is the result of Erin's asthma. See, Erin is allergic to dust, which means that this room isn't really helping her out. However, guess what the one thing is that Erin forgot to bring with her? Her inhaler. And that's when we notice that a camera is watching her as she's literally starting to have an asthma attack. A gap in the wall opens, and this is where we meet our antagonist for the very first time. Erin, due to her asthma attack, is struggling to not even properly breathe, but she's struggling to even make him out, only just being able to see his silhouette. And this is when we are given our very first big decision of the game. Take the inhaler in his hand that he's offering, or attack him with the bottom of the microphone in Erin's hand. Now, here is my thought process. See, from the premonition we just saw earlier, this is probably the room where Erin is most likely going to die, if I make the incorrect decision. Okay, trying to look at essentially the wall and the room itself, it somewhat seems similar to the one that we see in the premonition. So I know going into this that if I make the wrong decision, Erin is damn well about to die. So let's see what I went with. But in the end, I end up deciding to take the inhaler that he's offering. And just honestly, as you'd expect to happen, as we try to grab the inhaler, he grabs Erin, he ends up pushing her against the wall. And just when I thought she was dead,
Okay. Easy, easy. In.
he cuts a small part of her hair and then just leaves, allowing her to grab the inhaler, in which she uses it and then starts to regulate her breathing. Now I know, if you haven't played this game, I feel like a fair amount of you would have decided to attack. And I also understand that, because I did also think that too, okay? I said, well, why not attack him? That's probably the best course of action. But the thought process for me was, see, if Eren fought, it would have been a losing battle. Because in my mind, combat-wise for everyone in the team, Eren is the least likely to win a fight against this guy, okay? Not to say that Eren is miles better than her, but fighting most definitely is not Eren's strong suit. So I wanted to avoid Eren having to fight at any cost possible. And don't get me wrong, I knew that if I went with the chance of grabbing the inhaler, I knew 1000% he was going to grab Eren, okay? That's honestly the most predictable move in the book, okay? I knew damn well, but I just thought in my head, it might actually be better if she just doesn't fight. So I just thought, why not take the bait? And after all is said and done, the door finally opens and everyone rushes in to go check in on Eren.
Hey,
You're okay now. You're safe.
What? Did you see him?
come on.
He was... Somebody was right there. In there with me.
Eren, it's just a dummy.
No, it was not a dummy. He had a hat on, like H.H. Holmes.
Charles, you're working her to death. Now she's hallucinating shit from the show?
I did not.
Nothing bad happened, Eren. You're okay. No one is in there. Let's all just calm down, get Eren back to her room for a rest.
I'm not fucking tired.
Let's go.
Come on, Eren.
And that's when we switch back to Curator. And he's doing the same thing that he always does. Talks in riddles and is just simply reminding us of his job.
Ah, there you are. I think Eren's shown signs of serious pluck, wouldn't you say? Now, where's our wayward host, Mr. Dumet? Apparently, he's left the island. How very rude not to stay for dinner. Charlie managed to rally the troops, though, and a good thing. The road ahead is full of challenges. I can only observe, and it can be frustrating to watch. In some ways, I envy you. I only record events. You get to shape them. You'd better get back to things before one of our friends makes a poor choice on their own.
That's when we switch back and everyone is having a meeting within Eren's room. Some of the guys are convinced that Eren may be confused due to being overworked because from what they saw of the room, there was no physical body or human body in that room with her. But Eren is absolutely certain that there was another person in that room with her.
Let's just all take a deep breath and not lose our minds.
No, Charles. We're done. This has been weird every step of the way, and now it's getting scary.
Ah, relax.
I'm serious. Everything about this is off.
Kills me to admit it, but Kate is right. Somebody tried to attack Eren.
We don't know that's what actually happened.
I know what I saw.
In the dark,
You think I'm making this up?
everyone relax, okay? Just give me a second to think.
Excuse you.
And exit stage left, our oh so confident and sure leader.
What was that?
Charlie is thinking. Which looks a lot like a temper tantrum. Sorry, maybe I'm crazy, but if Eren says somebody came for her, I believe her.
We're not safe here.
It was just a dummy.
You think I'm lying? Really?
I think maybe you're just confused about what you saw in the dark.
I know what I saw.
After some bickering, some of the guys decide that they want to leave as they no longer want anything to do with the place. On the other hand, the other guys decide that they want to go find Dumet because they feel as though they need an explanation from him for this to all make sense.
Right. Here's the plan.
We've already got a plan. It's leaving.
Just listen. We cannot jump to conclusions. I'm going to go and find Dumet and get clear on everything. Everything is going to be fine, okay? And we're going to get the footage we need.
He didn't show for dinner. What makes you think you can find him now?
A positive attitude. You should try it sometime.
Bravo, Charles. Your delusions make for such great plans.
Demet left. I saw it, remember?
Maybe he's back now.
Maybe he's not.
Would it kill you to think positively just once?
I guess as far as Charlie ideas go, it's not the worst he's ever had.
It's not even the worst idea I've had this evening.
Don't go patting yourself on the back. I still think your priorities are fucked.
Whatever. I'm going.
I'm coming with you.
And somehow, yet again, Erin is left all alone.
I don't care what he says. I'm done. I'm getting my shit together.
Kate.
I'm leaving, Mark. You coming or not? Erin saw someone.
Okay, you're right. Sorry. It's just Charlie said.
We're not safe here. That outweighs having a damn job.
You're right. Let's go, Aaron. Everything's gonna be okay. Wait here.
Can't you just stay here while I pack up my stuff?
I don't want to waste any time. I'm right around the corner. Let's all be quick. We'll be right back. Promise.
No, don't. Sorry, just still freaked out. Can you leave it open so you guys can hear me?
Does no one here have a brain? We're talking about the one person who so far has been the only person to be targeted with the killer and also come face to face with them. We're talking the only person that's happened to has somehow now been left alone once again. If anything, if this was me in this situation, I would literally be with that person 24/7 to make sure that they don't get targeted again.
Okay, genius. Where are we going to look first for Demet?
I'm not looking for Dumet. I'm scouting for shots. If he pops up along the way, great.
Jesus. You really don't care about anything else, do you?
Of course I care.
Tell that to Kate.
We switch to Charlie, where Charlie and Jamie are going around looking for Dumet. However, Charlie mentions he actually isn't looking for Dumet at all, and he's actually looking for shots for the show. Yes, Charlie's priorities are effed up. And yes, this will not be the last time that you see an example of this. That's when we get downstairs to the lobby and we notice a door with some blood right beneath it. And I guess another classic horror movie trope, because Charlie has the incredible idea to go follow the blood trail. Like, genuinely ask yourself, in any horror movie, when has it ever been a good idea to follow a blood trail? Never. And yet we're doing it anyway. And after wandering, we end up in another room where the door ends up locking behind us again. I'm starting to feel like this is going to be a recurring pattern. We see behind the cage the groundskeeper, in which as Charlie gets closer, he ends up setting off a mechanism that leaves a scythe not too far away from the groundskeeper himself. That is when Jamie notices that Charlie stepped on some sort of pressure plate, in which if Charlie moves his weight away from that pressure plate, the scythe is going to go right into the groundskeeper. And that's when we see our antagonist again crop in from the dark and make himself known. He comes closer to us, presenting a dull blade, and through a gap in the fence ends up moving the blade closer towards Charlie's face. And here is where we are met with yet again another decision. Stay, risking ourselves being stabbed, or step back and causing the groundskeeper to get murdered, but guaranteeing our safety.
Give me your hand. Come on. Damn it.
What's happening? What did I do?
We need to get the fuck out of here. Now. Charlie.
Huh?
Let's go.
We decide to stay. He nicks our nose, and then it ends up sending Charlie off the pressure plate, in which the scythe goes straight into the groundskeeper, killing him. And it's at this point where I'm actually starting to question, is YouTube actually going to be okay with this video? So I would like to advise all those that are watching, for whatever it matters to YouTube or not, this is simply a video game. The blood is not real. I decided to stay because I was willing to risk it even if it meant the groundskeeper could stay alive, okay? It could have meant that Charlie could have died in that moment or got severely stabbed, but I was willing to risk it to keep the groundskeeper alive, just for it to not matter anyway. The light shuts off, and after Jamie manages to turn the lights back on, we see both the groundskeeper's body is gone, as well as our antagonist.
Did you see him?
The mask?
What the hell was that?
Are you shitting me?
We're trapped.
And just when the guys try to escape, we see steel bars appear in front of the front door, essentially trapping them in and preventing them from being able to escape. Then we switch back to Kate, in which Kate is spooked by Mark whilst holding her amethyst crystal, in which Mark mentions that there's something that he's been wanting to get off his chest. See, Mark was given his dream opportunity. He was given an opportunity at his dream, what he actually had been chasing for his entire life. And he mentions that he decided to reject it because it would have separated him from Kate. After some chatter, the guys finally decide to go check back in on Erin. However, on the way to her room, we find a newspaper called Campus Strangler Strikes Again. Someone is trying to taunt Kate about her past and her best friend Shelby. This very history that's giving Kate PTSD. Someone's purposely trying to bring it back up.
Yeah. Shelby.
Matching nails?
God, don't. We always got them done the same. That's him.
What?
That's him. The guy in the back.
You know him?
I kinda did. He was just one of those guys that was always around. We would be at some of the same parties, but that's it. It was my fault.
You know that's not true.
The night it happened, I was supposed to meet her. We were going to grab some drinks, go to a party. I slept through. It was a big deal on campus not to go out on your own. And Shelby waited for me when I didn't show, and that's when he got her.
It's okay.
It's not fucking okay. It can't be. I have to live with it every day, and now someone knows. Someone wanted me to find this.
She explains on the night of Shelby's death that she was supposed to meet Shelby. They were supposed to go grab some drinks, and then they were supposed to go to a party. However, Kate ended up sleeping through the time that she was supposed to meet Shelby. She even mentions that the campus was strictly advising people not to be out at night alone. However, Shelby waited. She waited and waited and waited until Kate would eventually get there, hoping for Kate to turn up. But she never did. And that's when the campus strangler got her. Then all of a sudden, we start to hear things moving around. And just as we get around the corner, we see one of the doors closing with Jamie and Charlie on the other side. Trying to use all their strength, they try to open it. However, to no avail. And Charlie leaves with one final message.
I can't hold this. Listen, you have to get the fuck out any way you can. Just get the fuck out now!
Jamie! Charlie!
What the hell just happened?
I don't know, but I think it's really bad.
Get out at any cost. That's when we switch back to Jamie and Charlie. And this is where they come to the conclusion that Mr. Dumet most likely isn't actually the person that they met and is most likely our antagonist. And after pretty much being forced to go downstairs and fussed into another room where the door shuts behind them, I genuinely hate this BS happening. The only open door is that to a walk-in freezer, which I would consider another classic horror movie trope. And if there's one thing I've learned from horror movies, the three places that I'd absolutely hate to be in are a walk-in freezer, a furnace of any kind, and a room in which it looks like the walls could move in. So as they walk into the walk-in freezer, the door does that thing again where it shuts closed behind them. I'm genuinely getting sick of that BS happening. Through some exploring, we see a body with a tag on it named Natalie Morello. This is someone who's also related to Joseph Morello. However, I do ask that you keep that name in your mind just a bit more longer, okay? We're not done with that name yet. And it clearly means that these guys were most likely the guests that were here before we got here. And just when Charlie goes to open the door, a trapdoor activates, sending them down, and it actually ends up knocking them out from the landing. So we switch back to Erin. And Erin is 1000% convinced that someone else was in that room with her. So she starts playing back the recording that she recorded with her microphone, and that's when she actually picks up on another breath. She's right, another person was in that room with her. So Erin, excited to go show everyone. Was that the door in the back? God damn it! So we have the one person who's been targeted by the killer and actually come face to face with them, somehow alone in a room by themselves again. Sick. And that's when a hole in the wall exposes itself, allowing for Erin to pass through. However, we notice there's a whole lot of dust in the room, so Erin's asthma starts to act up again. We use Erin's inhaler and then we pass through the passage, deciding to go explore this new place that's been opened up for us. In here, we end up uncovering some messages as well as a videotape. On the videotape, we hear a recording of Charlie supposedly claiming that he's more than fine with Mr. Dumet killing his team and that he's more than willing to give the team to him for free.
Mr. Dumet, I want my team dead. I'll get them to you.
Jesus.
This weekend.
Charlie.
Do it.
As well as some messages between Jamie and a girl called Laurel, in which Jamie mentions that Erin is the complete opposite of her type and that she's clueless and always looks lost and confused. However, in my mind at the time, I think just like with Kate, these things were planted here for Erin to see. After exploring some more, we see a plaque that actually shows that H.H. Holmes was also a doctor. All of a sudden, we hear Jamie's voice. It's coming from one of the mouths of the mannequins. Jamie's telling us that we aren't safe and that we must do as she says.
Erin, hello?
Jamie. Jamie?
Erin? You there?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
What is happening? What?
You're not safe, Erin.
How
You
are...
have to listen to me. Do exactly as I say.
Jamie, what is going on? Where are you? I don't...
Just listen. Listen. There's a cupboard in there. You have to get inside right now.
What are you talking about?
Just hide, Erin.
Why are you telling me this? What's happening?
Erin, now. Just trust me, okay?
Jamie tells us that instead of answering her questions, that Erin needs to go into the closet in the other room and hide. That's when the lights go out and we're left with yet another decision once again. Run back the way we came, or comply and listen to what Jamie told us to do and get in that closet. Now, I'm not gonna lie, on this one, I was really 50-50 because the last time we were Erin and we had to make a big decision, we took the bait and it ended up being the right choice to make. By taking the bait, we kept Erin alive. However, in my mind, I was already assuming that the recording of Charlie saying that he wanted us dead, as well as the text that we were seeing from Jamie, were all fake. These were all planted to make Erin not want to listen. So then I was also thinking, well, surely this voice that I'm hearing from this mannequin can't be Jamie. Especially because the voice was claiming, or the voice was advising for us to go hide in the closet, in which I was like, how could Jamie even know there was a closet in the other room in the first place? However, I came to the conclusion that Dumet was simply toying with Erin. I feel like for Erin anyway, the best way for Erin to survive was simply to comply. So I just sort of felt the idea that Erin was just simply being messed with and that she just had to play along with the game in order to survive. So just like the first time, we took the bait and we hid in the closet. And I also thought in the back of my mind, what good would it be us running back in the direction that we just came from? We'd literally just end up back in Erin's room anyway, so what good would that do us? And though we do catch a glimpse of him, he ends up leaving anyway. That's when we end up switching back to Mark and Kate, who end up in the lobby and they notice the steel bars in front of the front door, preventing us from escaping.
Where the hell are they?
Hopefully somewhere safe, wondering where the hell we are.
Kate, check this out.
What is going on? Are we locked in here?
That's when we hear a voice in the dinner hall, or the dinner room more specifically, so we decide to go investigate.
You end up dead. I'd like to toast all of you. Really?
And that's when we notice it. Dumet has made mannequins of every single one of us and is even playing a recording from the conversation that the guys had earlier when they were at the dinner table. He even tried to have the mannequins look somewhat like them, as well as the mannequins even wearing the very clothes that the guys would be wearing in the game. Okay, let's hold on a second, right? Just hear me out. You're telling me that Dumet couldn't find any hair for the 2 black mannequins he had? That ain't right. I ain't feeling that in the slightest. I'm not messing with that. After investigating the mannequins, we notice and we hear footsteps approaching one of the doors. So Kate and Mark decide to hide beside the door, and Mark, noticing that there's an ashtray next to it, he picks it up. The footsteps get closer, and that's when we're given a quick time event, but this one is a breathing quick time event to control our breathing. Then we're given yet again another quick time event in which we have to decide, are we about to hit whatever the heck is about to come through this door with this ashtray? And I decide not to. And luckily I didn't, because Jamie comes bursting through the door. And see, just when the guys decide to leave, we see a camera where Dumet is actually watching the guys. We switch back over to Charlie, who's finally decided to wake up, and we found ourselves in the basement of the mansion. After unlocking a couple doors and flicking a couple switches, we end up hearing some screaming and all the lights go out, which is a great time to investigate, you know? Like again, classic horror movie trope. When has it ever been a bad idea to go investigate the screaming? And that's when we see a mannequin that was previously wrapped around one of the locked doors, now on the floor, burnt. And then we move on into the room in which, hey, so remember when I said earlier that the 3 worst rooms to ever be in a horror movie are a walk-in freezer, a furnace of any kind, and a room where it looks like the walls could move in? Tell me why this room looks like a giant furnace. We finally find some cigarettes after all this time, just for Charlie to realize he doesn't even have his lighter on him. And bang! I honestly don't even know what to say. This may have been the most obvious bait for a trap I have ever seen, and yet we still fell for it. We switch to the other guys who find a door behind the bar, and strangely we start hearing opera music slowly getting louder. And that's when we notice that the guys are watching a camera in the room where Charlie is currently in.
What's he doing?
And once Charlie realizes the trap that he's in, he tries to force the door open. but he just can't reach the handle. And that's when gas starts to enter the room. Oh, you genuinely cannot be serious. This was exactly what I was scared for. Dumet is at the door and he closes the gap in the door. And that's when a mannequin lifts up out of the ground holding a lighter, and that's when Charlie slowly has the realization set in. And the room is set ablaze. Charlie takes off his jacket, and that's when we're given our next big decision as Charlie. Either lift the grate or try force the door open. And I instantly go for lifting the grate over trying to force open the door. And just when Charlie manages to get the grate to actually start moving, I guess Uncle decides that he needs to take a rest for a moment. And that's when, for the first time in the game, we're actually given a choice to make another big decision. We can either continue trying to lift the grate, or we can try and go force the door open. And I say F it. Okay, I'm already in too deep. I've already started to lift the grate, so I might as well just keep on going for it. And I actually like how the game decides to drown out his flipping screams with the overbearing, increasing volume in the opera music. Mind you, remember, we see that the guys are watching this on the camera, and we actually see that Dumet is actually not too far from the furnace door itself. We switch back to the curator, and
Things are starting to heat up for our friends. Charlie's goose may be cooked.
nice pun.
Difficult working with someone you've been involved with. But I think Mark and Kate may be finding a way and learning some new things about each other. And how do we feel about Mr. Dumet's lovely animatronics? I think they're rather clever. Some of them look very realistic. I wonder where he sources the parts.
And he ends up giving his thoughts on the characters thus far.
It would only be fair at this stage to offer up a little hint to even the odds. What do you think?
He decides to offer up a hint if we're willing to accept it. And I say, F it. After killing Charlie, I might as well just take the hint, because I'm probably going to need it to keep everyone else alive. So he reads a quote.
Let's take some inspiration from the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Apparently, our friend Herman Mudgett was so enamored with Sherlock Holmes that he borrowed his surname. Here. He has a brain of the first order. He sits motionless like a spider in the center of its web, but that web has 1,000 radiations, and he knows well every quiver of each of them. I hope that helps.
At first, I thought this hen is like straight up BS. I'm like, what am I supposed to make like any use of this? But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, and after some research I did, I'll be honest, The idea is that he's actually making a reference to the layout of Dumet's traps. The whole idea is that Dumet is the spider, and this entire mansion is his web. He knows every little piece and every little thing that is going on. We're essentially in the middle of Dumet's game. The moment we do something, he knows what it is. So after the curator, we switch back to Mark, Kate, and Jamie. And like I say again, these guys had a camera feed within the room that Charlie was in. They just saw Charlie get torched. Okay, they just watched me murder Charlie. Also, I don't know if you can tell, it's the next day. That's just how long this script is. Like, yeah. However, at the same time, there's another camera revealing Dumet is watching Mark, Kate, and Jamie. So, another pathway ends up unlocking itself to those guys because the previous way that they came in is now locked. And now the only option they have is to now follow this new path. And from there, we end up inside some part of a spa. And after some exploring and whatnot and opening a door, classic trap door, and this time Mark and Jamie end up getting separated from Kate. After some more exploring, we end up finding another trap. But this time it's between two mannequins, and these two mannequins are dressed like construction workers. Having nothing else to do but press the big red button, Jamie ends up pressing the button, and the trap ends up activating this saw blade as well as the chains. See, each one of the construction workers are tied to a chain, and the chains are slowly moving towards the buzzsaw. But like again, these are both just mannequins. Either way, one of the mannequins end up getting toppled into the buzzsaw by the other mannequin, and the mannequin explodes. But in doing so, not only does the trap end up stopping, but the trap gate ends up opening, allowing them to go in which we end up finding a key on the floor. So we end up using that key on the next door. The key ends up leading us back into the spa, in which we basically end up making our way back around into where Kate is. So we end up moving the desk and unlocking another door, and we finally reunite back with Kate again. So we progress through the double doors, and thus as we progress through the double doors, we end up realizing that Dumet is just not too far behind us. We end up in the lobby where Jamie wants to go try and check up on Erin. In the meantime, we end up switching over to Erin, who thinks it's finally safe to come out the closet, when she actually ends up running into Dumet. So now running for her life, Erin ends up running into Erin. Let's just be serious for a second. Did you seriously just run yourself into another trap? That's when we end up switching back to the other guys, who end up hearing Erin scream for help, so the guys end up chasing after the screams. However, with Kate being the first one to get to her, Kate actually ends up running herself into the other side of the trap that Erin is in. Finding themselves locked, Jamie and Mark find themselves led into another room. That's when the fans above both of the girls' rooms start moving. And that's when we realize the fans are removing air from the girls' rooms. The girls are going to suffocate to death. However, this is where we're led to our next big decision, because as Jamie, we have to decide. Do we want to kill Kate, saving Erin, or kill Erin, saving Kate? See, I know I've said this about the other ones, but this one was a pretty difficult one because of the fact that I started to really get in my own head here. Like, I was genuinely getting in my own head about what the best possible course of action here. I did feel like there was an opportunity where I could have actually saved both of them, because I find it highly unlikely that the game introduces a trap or a decision in which I guarantee one of the characters' death. That's just unfair. So I really did think there was an opportunity to save both of them here, but it was in making that correct opportunity or making that correct decision that I was really struggling with. Because I was starting to think, on one hand, well, Erin is the one that has asthma problems, so killing her might be worse off because of the fact that she is going to knock out way quicker than Kate is. So I was thinking in one part of my mind, okay, well, if we kill Kate and save Erin, like, because if we were to do the opposite, I was essentially thinking that Erin's not going to last long. But I was also thinking, well, Erin has her inhaler with her, so maybe the inhaler could, you know, just help. But then I was also like, maybe I'm giving too much credit to the inhaler because this girl is about to go unconscious, if not literally suffocate to death. So I was like, Erin's probably going to knock out way quicker than Kate is. So then I started to think, well, with Erin having her asthma problems, she probably isn't going to be able to survive without air longer than Kate would.
No!
We had
What
to do
did you-
something. They were both gonna die.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, Kate.
Window. There's a leak.
Back up. Come on, I got you.
Okay. I'm okay.
In the end, however, I did end up deciding to kill Kate. And just as it seems like all hope is lost, Kate ends up uttering with what little breath she has left that there's actually a gap in the window. So Mark tries to break the window, eventually managing to actually remove the panel of glass out of the way, and lifts Kate out of the room that she's in, essentially saving her. In which, when everyone's checking up on her, or Jamie ends up checking up on her, she ends up slapping Jamie for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I ain't feeling that in the slightest. Like, let's be so real here for a second, okay? Jamie had to decide to kill one of them, and if she did nothing, both of them would have died. Like, how are you gonna get mad at her for having to decide between someone else over you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's one or the other. She either saves your life and kills someone else, or kill someone else, or kill you and save someone else's life. Like, how are you getting mad at her for a decision? She literally just had to make one in that moment. Like, that's not even, like, I don't really feel like you can get mad at that. We get in the hallway, and now everyone is deciding on what to do, as well as confirming Charlie's death, which, like, F, bro. Like, I can't believe I genuinely got, I mean, look, okay, it was probably inevitable. Like, someone had to die, I guess. But, like, it's upsetting that I actually ended up getting someone murdered. Either way, once again, the guys are trying to decide what the heck they're supposed to do.
What is happening?
Dumet is playing a game, and it's no fucking joke.
You okay?
Just leave me alone.
Look, we have to get smart about this before one of us ends up dead like Charlie.
Wait, Charlie's dead? Then he got what was coming to him.
What? What the hell does that mean?
When I was lost, I picked up a recording. It was Charlie talking to Dumet. He said he wanted us dead. He brought us here to kill us.
No. There's just no way.
I know what I heard.
We need a plan. Forget his games, traps, all that bullshit. Think about the killers we've covered. There's always a weakness.
You suggesting we invite him to tea and psychoanalyze?
I'm suggesting we use our heads.
We can make guesses all day, but if we die here, it won't matter. I'm not playing detective, I just want to survive.
Playing detective is how we survive. We play his games, we'll lose. We need to outthink him.
So Jamie probably says the smartest thing that anyone has to ever say within that game. And, like, thank God that she says this, because it's like, I feel like this should have been said, like, much earlier in the game, but at least it's being said anyway.
He's trying to pick us off one at a time. We need to stick together.
Hang on. He could be listening to us right now.
Jamie ends up mentioning that the best course of action is that these guys should all try to stick together and not leave each other, because Dumet is simply trying to pick them off one by one.
Where should we go?
Back to the ferry.
It left, remember?
It's on a line. Maybe we could reel it in.
Maybe isn't good enough.
The lighthouse. Maybe we can signal for help.
So they end up also deciding to come up with a plan. Get to the lighthouse. The lighthouse is their best chance of signaling to help, so if they manage to get there and turn it on, surely someone will come for them. Next moment, we just start hearing mechanisms moving within the house again, and for no reason at all, Kate just decides to leg it. Okay? And I'm just like, didn't we just say we were gonna stick together? Mark gets separated from Erin and Kate. Erin and Kate end up getting separated from Jamie, and Mark gets sent down some Mark ends up getting sent down some trapdoor in when he ends up getting stuck mid near the bottom of some sort of chute. And after exploring, we end up in a hide QTE in which we end up hiding behind a fridge as well as some boxes. Dumet walks past and not really sure how he didn't see us, but fairs, I'm not going to question it anyway. Then we end up in another hide QTE as well as a breathing QTE, as not only Dumet walks in the room that we're also in, but we're literally hidden under the table as he's doing some work above us. And yet another hide QTE in which Dumet ends up walking in the room that we're in once again, but shortly ends up leaving. And that's when, after a bit more exploring, Mark ends up finding a drill screw bit, in which he ends up deciding to put it onto the end of his monopod, which honestly, creative thinking. And that's when Mark finds a vent in which he decides to pull out the vent and crawl through it. And okay, I'm not gonna lie, can we change the number from 3 to 4? Okay, like, just going back to the early thing I was talking about. Remember when I said before that there's like 3 places within a horror movie that you'd hate to be in? Can we change that now to 4? Because let's be so real here. Change it to 4. It would now be a walk-in freezer, a furnace of any kind, a room where it looks like the walls could move in, and any sort of vent of any kind. Because let's be so real. A vent, bro, that's like the classic case of like furnace, which, okay, we've already had, so it won't probably happen again. But that's also a classic case of they could just they could smoke out the vent with toxic fumes, and then you just end up suffocating to death on some toxic BS. Like, that, like, I would hate to be going through any sort of vent. Either way, we end up switching over to Jamie. And Jamie actually ends up managing to get into the room that Erin was originally stuck in, the one where we had to make our first big decision for Erin. And in that room, there's a fuse box. So Jamie ends up using her multimeter on the fuse box to end up fixing it, forcing one of the doors, or forcing one of the walls to actually force their way open. However, the box ends up short-circuiting, so Jamie has just enough wiggle room just to wiggle herself past. That's when we end up in a room right across from Erin's original room, and we notice a red light coming from the mirror. So that's when Jamie uses her screwdriver to undo the latch, and that's when we notice it all. This guy Dumet has cameras in here, he has the monitors set up in here, and obviously the one-way mirrors to watch us from the other side. And we even notice on the monitors, we get a slight glimpse of Mark whilst he's in the basement, as well as almost having a run-in with Dumet, in which Dumet seems to be in some sort of makeshift sort of interrogation room. And just as we realize that Dumet is about to come out of that room, we realize that we gotta hide. So we end up running essentially back the way that we came, hiding in that area. And now we move over to Kate and Erin, who are actually able to push open one of the doors, because I assume around the same time it would have been when Jamie was actually using the fuse box. Incredible. And now we have to go investigate the crying once again, because why not? Okay, classic horror movie trope, back at it again. We investigate the crying, and all we can see is a gap in the door as well as some hair. So not being able to get into that room, we end up going into the next room, hopefully trying to get around to the room where the crying is coming from. That's when we find a book on the ground called Manny Sherman, the Beast of Arkansas. This is once again the name of another serial killer. But this book was written by none other than Joseph Morello. However, when we turn the book to look at the back of the book, that's when we see a picture of him. It's him, the man who brought us here, the man who brought us here on the ferry, the man who ended up leaving on the ferry with a small girl. It's Joseph Morello. See, remember much earlier when we looked at that letter in the lobby, or in the upstairs lobby, in which we ended up seeing the letter where Mr. Morello mentioned that he was going to be coming with his 2 daughters, his wife, and his brother? This is him. So, to my possible assumption, most likely, Joseph Morello, not even most likely, most definitely, Joseph Morello was the family that was here before we were. And assuming his eldest daughter, as well as his wife and his brother, were all killed by either Dumet's traps or running into Dumet himself. Morello, managing to keep him and himself and his daughter alive, ends up striking a deal with Dumet. Most likely, it was something like, well, if you bring me 5 new victims, I'll let you go. And that's exactly why he wanted us to get to the mansion so quickly, so he could escape. He was more than fine with risking our lives if it meant that him and his daughter could escape. He knew damn well what we were getting into. And now it makes sense why he was on edge the entire time. He didn't want to be there a second longer. That's why he wanted to get us to the mansion so quick. The quicker he got us there, the quicker he could make his escape. Heck, that's why he even had us get rid of our phones, to remove any chance of us signaling for any sort of help. We unlock the door and we end up investigating the crying. And when we get to the body, or when we get to where the crying is coming from, we end up realizing it's coming from the body, or the mouth of a body with a mic within it. This is the body of Mrs. Morello. The body we found in the freezer, Natalie Morello, is his eldest daughter. So the only body we've yet to have seen yet is his brother, who I think was Francis Morello. Either way, the scene ends up switching, and hold up a second. The furnace room? Why the heck are we back in here? This is the very place where Charlie was literally just burnt alive. Why are we back in this room? Dumet walks in, noticing Charlie's bloody jacket near the ground, as well as, well, very much burnt jacket, and then just walks back out. But then, oh my effing days! Charlie's alive! Yo, yo. And somehow only has minor burns, which I find very hard to believe for a man who was in a furnace for God knows how long. That means I didn't sell. Yo, okay, thank God, okay? Bro, why would they take that long to tell me? Like, they genuinely had me thinking I genuinely murdered someone here. Yo, okay, next step, we gotta get the F out of here before Dumet realizes that we're actually alive. After some exploring and turning some switches on and getting the lights back on, that's when we end up seeing a mannequin dressed in the very same jacket that the groundskeeper was in. The groundskeeper was also a mannequin. Dumet had the mannequin there with a microphone in it to make it sound like it was an actual person. It was all fake from the beginning. He just had us believe that we killed an actual person. So we end up turning on the conveyor belt, dealing with a couple QTEs, and end up at the end of another mechanical massive shredder. And as we start to hear Dumet's footsteps approaching, we are encountered with yet again another big decision. And okay, can we just pause for a second? Not only did they have me think for a large portion of this game that I had just killed this character, but now when I finally get the opportunity to play as this character, you give me another big decision where this guy could possibly die again. Are we for real? We can either turn back the way that we came through the conveyor belt, or we can hide. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like this one was a no-brainer, okay? I felt like there was no way that Charlie was gonna end up beating the pace of a conveyor belt on his hands and knees. So I'm like, the only decent option is to hide. So that's when we hide under the control panel, and we actually notice Dumet is throwing our luggage into the shredder. I guess he's trying to remove any trace that we were ever there. We end up having a quick QTE to literally save our lives, as well as doing a breathing QTE. And after all is said and done, Dumet finally leaves. We switch over to Kate and Erin, who end up hearing banging coming from a window. And bam! Jamie ends up breaking open one of the one-way mirrors with her screwdriver. We do some little talking here and there, and we hear some footsteps approaching. So we hide besides the door where we hear the footsteps approaching, and in walks in Dumet. But without him noticing, the girls end up sneaking into the room where they saw him walk in from. And that's when we end up realizing, this brother has a control center here. This brother's dead-eye moving like Batman. He's using this hub as a way to control the walls, control his traps, and to make it seem like he's teleporting. So he ain't no Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. He's simply just been doing everything from this central hub. Like I say again, activating traps, moving the walls, and setting up trapdoors to force us to move in areas that he has wanted us to move in of his choosing. And that's when we learn some pretty scary stuff. He has files on all of us. Okay, he's been watching us for a minute. He's even been tracking where he last saw us. So the girls decide to come up with a plan. The plan is simple. Now that we're in the central hub, we can hopefully trap him in between two of his own walls within the hallway.
Over here!
Look at this. It saw his little tricks of moving walls and crap.
Nothing in this shitbox is real. He controls everything from here. It's a murder factory.
You're right. We should use this against him.
I want to find Mark, not play Dumet's game.
If we trap him, we can look for Mark without looking over our shoulders the whole time.
Jamie's right.
Okay, look. He's in here, right? So we get him to go down this hall, and we trap him between these two moving walls. There's no other way out of there. He'd be stuck.
So, how do we get him to go down that hall?
One of us is going to have
To be bait.
No, no way. It's too risky, Jamie.
So is letting him run free. I'd say that's more dangerous. Come on.
No way. If something goes wrong, one of us will be dead.
Yeah, I'm not super into doing it, but I am done being scared of what's around every corner.
There's no second chances here.
Who's gonna do it?
However, there is one key problem with that. In order to force him to go to said hallway, someone needs to be the bait. Someone has to force him into that hallway.
It's my plan. I'll be the bait.
Jamie, no. Let's find another way. You don't have to do this.
One of us has to.
If you're sure, just If it looks like it's going south, get the hell out of there.
No argument here.
And since Jamie came up with the plan, Jamie decides to sacrifice herself. Jamie ends up offering up her screwdriver. However, as Kate, we decide that it's actually probably better in Jamie's hands, as she might even need to use it as self-defense.
You could use that as a weapon if need be.
And that's when we see those damn crows again. For God's sake, bro, are we serious? That means for certain, this decision we just made is gonna 1000% have a possible consequence within the future.
Okay, be ready. You're gonna have to time it right to trap him and not me.
Be careful, please.
I'm on it.
You'll be careful?
If I see Demet, he'll wish I hadn't.
Don't. Be serious, please. Just tell me you'll be careful. Tell me I'll see you again.
Aaron, I promise. You'll see me again.
Good, because I think I love you. Or something. I mean...
Well, now I have to come back. All right. Here goes nothing.
And okay, Aaron, fair enough. I assume out of all times that you would think is necessary to tell someone that you love them, wouldn't really go for the whole, you know, the person who's about to use themselves as bait for a possible trap and could end up possibly dying sort of route when telling someone that you loved them. But heck, what do I know? Once again, I get 0 women and I'm also single. So, you know, to each their own, I guess. So now we're over to Jamie, who is now on the hunt for Dumet. And it doesn't take long before we eventually find the man himself. And we deal with a couple QTEs as well as a quick decision whether deciding to bluff or just straight leg it, in which we obviously decide to just leg it. I'm not risking bluffing it. And in true horror fashion, Jamie trips over nothing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so annoyed about this. Like, Jamie, who is the horror movie fanatic, the horror movie fan, and out of all people to trip over nothing, you're telling me the horror fans to do it? Look, don't get me wrong, classic horror movie trope, I get it. But Jamie, of all people, like, you're supposed to be the one who loves, and also whilst the killer's chasing you, well, okay, that's the only time that sort of stuff tends to happen, but you get my point. Like, Jamie, come on, bro. I expected more from you. With one of the walls closed off, we went into a final QTE in which we managed to trap him. We finally managed to trap the man. The plan worked, except he didn't, because like Michael Myers, he just appears from the dark, in which he continues chasing us, and now we end up running into the control room, in which now he's chasing after all of us. And we end up being Kate, in which Kate ends up running into yet again another trap. And Jamie coincidentally ends up running into the other side of that very trap. However, Jamie's side has a reverse button on it, and oh, for F's sake. So remember when we said that, or when I said that there's 4 places that I'd hate to be in a horror movie? A walk-in freezer, a furnace of any kind, a room in which it looks like the walls could move in, and a vent. Well, it seems as though we're finally about to see the last one of those 4, as the wall is now literally moving towards Jamie. So the game is simple. If Jamie presses the button, the wall goes into Kate's direction. However, it'll end up killing Kate. However, if we don't press the button, then it kills Jamie. However, this time around, instead of it actually being a decision, it's one of those where we're given a QTE, in which we have to decide whether to press the button or not. So I decide not to push it, and there are them damn crows again.
I'm not doing it. I'm not playing this game. Look out for Aaron, for me, promise? I promise. Oh, fuck. Jamie! Thank you! Thank you! Survive, Kate!
And that's when we start to see the start of a slow and bone-crushing death. Then we switch back to the curator.
What an excruciating way to go. Jamie wouldn't press the button. She chose to spare Kate at the cost of her own life. Admirable. People can surprise you sometimes.
Who, as well as mentioning Jamie's death, so I guess this time around we actually did end up getting someone killed. Which, you know, of all characters, actually again, Jamie's possibly like my favorite, if not second favorite, you know, the horror movie fanatic. So for her to die, I ain't gonna lie, it stung. It stung a bit. Well, no, it stung a lot, to be honest.
Meanwhile, Charlie has proved himself capable, surviving the furnace and every other obstacle. Who would have thought it?
And then he offers up another quote once again.
Did the hint I gave you earlier help? Perhaps you'd like another. Have you read The Valley of Fear? The last of the Sherlock Holmes novels, and one of the best. Let's see. The temptation to form premature theories upon insufficient data is the bane of our profession. You should get back. I hope these chats are helpful. I certainly wouldn't want them to be intimidating. I'll be watching your progress, as always, watching very closely.
And the whole idea, I think, behind this quote is that we shouldn't rush to conclusions when we don't have all the necessary data to make such conclusions. And to be honest, that kind of makes sense, because when we think back to Charlie's death, I mean, yeah, we all thought he died, but we didn't physically see Charlie die. So I guess it was one of those where we made a premature assumption. We thought Charlie was dead, and then we end up figuring out he's actually not dead. So, you know, this one kind of makes sense, I guess. Unless you physically see it, unless you have enough data to physically prove it, you shouldn't make any conclusions on the data that you have, because clearly it will be the bane of our existence. And then he sends us right back, and we end up back in the glass trap room. And oh my days, she isn't dead. The screwdriver from earlier, it ended up saving us from keeping it. Now, I gotta put my hands up, right? And I gotta be honest. This is, and I genuinely mean this is the only decision in the game that I remember from Jev's playthrough, okay? I remember that if you, regardless, right? Basically, if you decide to give the screwdriver to Kate, and then you send the wall in Kate's direction, Kate ends up using it. If you end up keeping it, if Kate ends up telling Jamie to keep it, and Jamie just doesn't press the button, then Jamie ends up using it and it saves her life. The point is, if you give the screwdriver to someone, and the person that you give the screwdriver to ends up having the wall go in their direction, they stay alive. However, if you end up giving the screwdriver to a person and the other person ends up having the wall crush them, they genuinely do die. So yeah, I'll admit, this is the only one that I actually remembered from Jev's gameplay. Which, hey, to be honest, props to me for remembering that. Something that was over 3 years ago. But yeah, I gotta admit that one. That one I definitely actually did know. So the door opens from Kate's side, in which we end up meeting with Erin again. And for Christ's sake, can we get a break from this man? We just saw him. So we switch over to Mark, and the vents actually end up leading him outside. He's the first one out. So I guess the vents aren't all that bad after all. Now we end up switching back to the girls, who are still being chased by Dumet and end up on the literal edge of the building. We're playing as Kate, and we end up getting split from Erin, but still with Jamie, and we end up running onto the roof to run from Dumet, in which we end up hiding in a locker. We end up having to run from him anyway, in which he ends up having us dangling over the edge of the cliff, or the edge of the building. We tell Jamie to run, and he ends up dropping us onto some pallets. However, we got to keep moving because he's making his way down to us. So we end up in the gardens, in which the gardens has this sort of garden maze. Trying to look for an escape, we end up looking for a switch that has no handle, so we find the handle. The switch provides us with a secret passage in which we end up going through the secret passage. We go inside, it ends up leading us back outside, and we essentially end up walking past a couple statues of Dumet. Except, I guess, in classic sort of horror fashion, Dumet is actually stood as one of the statues himself. Which, like, honestly, it's kind of dope because, like it reminds me of Outlast Trials. I'll try and show a clip of it if I can, but like, there is an Outlast trial where one of the shorties sort of has clones in which she can actually pretend to stand like one of the mannequins. So it, you know, a pretty cool mechanic, I feel as though, a pretty cool way to hide yourself. We end up running into a barn in which we end up switching over to Kate, and we end up deciding to barricade the door instead of running, giving us some time. And then we also end up deciding to run instead of climb. That's when we end up running through one final door, end up at the edge of the cliff, and Dumet finally catches up. And just as he takes a step towards us, as he's getting ready to swing, the girls all end up falling off the edge of the cliff. We end up switching to Mark, who just ends up basically at some outside swimming pool. He goes through the bathhouse, goes through a door, and we end up switching over to Charlie. Charlie has also managed to end up outside.
Shit! Yeah, fucking fetch.
And apart with a scary, friendly run-in with an unfriendly dog, that is when we get grabbed, in which we end up realizing it's Mark.
Where are the others? Mark, are they safe?
We were all separated trying to get out. Dumet has the entire place rigged with traps. We fall right into his game.
We have to get out of here. Get back to the ferry.
Dumet disabled it. We all agreed we'd head for the lighthouse if we can't signal for help.
I don't suppose there's any good news.
Actually,
I never thought I'd say this again.
So after Mark explains to Charlie the plan, the plan becomes clear. Get to the lighthouse. Now everyone knows that the objective is to get to the lighthouse. We end up having a scary run-in with Dumet in which we have him hand up to hide in a freezer. Kind of weird. But the place that we end up learning that this is the very place that Dumet is preserving the bodies. And after walking across a beam, we end up getting the closest we've ever been so far to the lighthouse. That's when we end up switching over to Jamie, and it seems as though Jamie and Kate were split up from Erin. So they continue on, and that's when we end up at some kind of beach house. We end up hearing sounds of some whimpering, in which we end up realizing that there's a dog there. However, at the same time of realizing this dog, Dumet is making his way towards us. So Jamie tells Kate to hide behind a couch, and we end up taking the dog into the back room with us.
You hear that?
What?
Like... whimpering. Is that...
Okay, hide. It's okay, boy. I won't hurt you.
We keep on trying to tell the dog to be quiet, but the dog keeps on growling and barking, essentially getting Dumet's attention. So we are given another QTE in which there's another decision to be made here. Do we stab the dog, keeping it quiet, or do we not?
Come on.
And I take the opportunity. I sadly end up putting the dogs to sleep permanently. Look, don't get me wrong, I'm a dog fan, but this dog almost damn near got me killed, okay? Like, it's one of those, I was not about to risk it. And in doing so, Dumet ends up leaving and we end up sneaking out and end up into the forest. We end up switching to Mark, who's actually trying to climb up to the lighthouse, as the lighthouse is within fair reach now. And Erin actually ends up helping us up. So I guess Erin's the first one to get to the lighthouse.
Need a hand?
Aaron, holy shit. You're okay? Aaron, I'm so glad you're okay. Give me a hand.
You're fine.
Where's Kate? Jamie? Have you seen them? Do you know where they are?
We got separated in the woods. I was too scared to stop and look. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's gonna be okay, Aaron. They'll get here.
I found a way inside. Come on.
Amazing. Well done, Aaron.
You're not coming with us.
What? Are you?
I heard your call with Dumet. You set this all up. You set us up to die.
Aaron, you are out of your mind. I would never... You know you can trust me.
70% of murderers kill somebody they know. Somebody who trusts them.
It's 79%. But I am not a murderer.
The last-minute trip, giving up our phones, a remote location, all part of the plan, wasn't it?
You're in shock and you're not thinking straight. I would never...
Mark, we need to tie him up until help gets here. He'll either stab us in the back or get Dumet to do it.
Erin, I would...
Quiet!
But after helping us up, Erin decides that Charlie isn't coming with us, because Erin still remembers the recording from much earlier in which she remembers that Charlie said that he was more than willing for Dumet to kill us all and that he was giving us up as bait. However, as Mark, we have to make a decision. Do we trust Charlie or do we not? And in doing not, or in deciding not, we end up having to tie him up. However, like I mentioned from much earlier, in my gameplay, I was sort of under the assumption that this audio recording was fake. I thought that these things were planted purposely, like the newsletter with Kate, for Erin to see. So I ended up deciding as Mark to just trust Charlie.
Aaron, whoa. I've worked with Charlie for a long time. He's a selfish control freak who'd fuck any of us over if he had to, but he's not a murderer.
I know what I heard.
I believe you, but maybe that's what you were supposed to hear. Look, I'll watch him. Promise.
You're both fucking mad.
And once again, as always, when making a decision, those damn crows have to come across the screen. As Mark, Erin, and Charlie are now exploring the lighthouse, we end up actually finding 2 tape recordings.
I want my team dead. I'll get them to you this weekend. Just do it.
I never said any of that shit.
I'm certainly grateful to you, Mr. Dumet. I want my team dead. I'll get them there this weekend. Let's do it.
I'm such an idiot. I wanted this to work so much, I just accepted everything he said.
It's been edited. I'm such an idiot. Jesus, I'm a sound tech and I fell for it.
You're in shock. All of us are. Don't beat yourself up.
One with the edited voice of Charlie saying that he wants us dead, and one with the original Charlie phone call with Dumet, in which certain parts have been sped up. So we end up realizing, like, yeah, of course this BS was fake. And okay, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of petty. Like, okay, I get Erin was wrong. She got fooled for it. The sound tech got fooled by some sound trick. I get it.
So, Erin?
I'm sorry, Charlie.
But like at the same time, look, Charlie, out of all times to be asking for an apology, can you not just ask for this apology when we're all safe? Anyway, we continue on as Mark, and we end up getting to the top of the lighthouse, and we eventually end up switching on the lighthouse itself. However, after switching it, we move down, in which we end up looking outside of a window, and Mark actually notices both Jamie and Kate on their way over. What Mark doesn't notice is that a Dumet-sized figure is slowly walking up behind him. That's when we end up switching over to Kate and Jamie, in which, whilst going up the lighthouse, we actually end up running into Charlie and Erin. So these guys are all like, well, where's Mark? And they end up realizing, oh, well, Charlie mentions that Mark is actually trying to go on turn on the lighthouse. That's when they go into the room that Mark's in, and they realize that Mark is currently on the floor. But Mark is too bruised up at the moment, or too injured at the moment, to tell them that Dumet is in the room with them.
Oh, thank God. It's only you.
Thank God. Have you seen Mark?
He's all right. He's trying to get that bloody light going.
Mark? Please tell me you can hear me. Mark! I thought I lost you.
But it doesn't take long anyway, as Dumet ends up closing the door behind them on their way in. But that's when Charlie shoves him, in which everyone runs for the exit and is straight on their way out of the house. Heading straight for the shed by the shore, we notice that a police boat is currently approaching that very shed. Thank God safety is finally here. That's when the police spots two bodies as we end up coming bursting in. And for Christ's sake, bro, the cops in this game aren't any better than the cops in real life. Bro, he did not waste time to like draw for the tool.
He killed them.
No talking. I said, hands where I can see them.
And we noticed that the bodies that he uncovered were Joseph Morello and his daughter. Dumet set them up. He snaked them.
Thank God you're here. You have to help us.
Until I know what's happening here, no one moves.
We didn't kill anyone. But we know who did.
And even when we try to explain to the cop that we ain't got anything to do with it and that we need to get off this island immediately because the trouble is coming, that's when we notice in the background his literal boat gets molotoved and eventually blows up.
You'll have a chance to tell your story.
And from the darkness, almost as if he's like the Dark Knight, Dumet in one clean swipe cuts off the officer's hand.
Let's go.
And a second one to the man's stomach, lifting him in the air.
Get his gun!
We try to grab the gun, but he ends up kicking it away. So we end up grabbing the bottle of mace and we just run because we notice that there's one last boat on the shore.
Cord. There. Work, damn it. Just work. Go!
And just as Dumet is about to swing, we just managed to speed off on him. And whoo! We finally did it. Okay? Finally, we made it. We got off the island. We're on a boat. We're on our way to safety. Thank God. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. How? With a quick QTE, Erin ends up off the boat. Then we end up switching over to Charlie, in which Charlie also has a QTE, in which he also ends up off the boat. Then we switch over to Jamie, in which Jamie hits Dumet over the head with a tank, in which Dumet ends up attacking back, and we're given another decision, either attack or jump off the boat. So I decide, F it, 2 people are already off the boat, let's make it 3, and Jamie also ends up getting sent off the boat. Then we switch over to Mark, in which Mark manages to pick up the axe, in which he swings it at Dumet, forcing his mask to come off, before Dumet picking it back up and putting it back on. And though Mark and Dumet end up tussling for the axe, Mark eventually ends up winning it over, and he takes a swing and he flipping misses. Hey Mark, out of all times for you to be missing, bro, this ain't the one. Dumet grabs Mark, trying to push him onto the back of the axe as Mark swung the axe into the boat. That's when we switch over to Kate, in which Kate is given an option, either attack or jump. So as Kate, trying to help Mark out, we decide to attack, but Dumet ends up pushing us and knocks us back, in which we switch to Mark for another QTE, in which we need to spam to make sure that we aren't impaled by the back of the axe, in which after succeeding that one, we end up grabbing onto the mace bottle that we got earlier and spraying it in Dumet's face. It sends Dumet off axis, so we end up grabbing the anchor, we throw it at Dumet, in which it ends up sticking in him, and at the same time, it also starts to cause the chains to get wrapped up in the propeller, before forcing Dumet off the boat, causing him to get chopped up and diced up. And if that wasn't enough, Kate and Mark are given one last QTE, in which we end up having to jump off the boat as the boat is heading straight towards some rocks, in which it ends up blowing up. Look, if he weren't dead before, he's got to be now. Either way, we end up switching to the view of a truck driver who, as he's driving down the road, he ends up getting flagged down by the rest of the guys. It switches to daytime, and now we're seeing a police officer talk to the truck driver that we flagged down before. And that's when we hear the crew talking about their next steps forward. Mark decides that it's not too late to take that opportunity, so he's going to go take that dream opportunity, as well keep in touch with Kate to let her know what's going on. Kate had already decided that she was going to leave the crew anyway, so her next step forward is to do presenting somewhere else. Erin, once again, realizing that it's not the best time in the world, so at least there's some development there. She ends up asking Jamie if they're actually a thing now, in which they decide they are and decide to start making out. So hey, like I say again, who am I to question anything? I'm single. And the truck driver offering Charlie a cigarette. Charlie ends up declining the offer, saying that he's now trying to quit. So nice to see that this experience, you know, had a change of heart, and maybe in the end the cigarettes really weren't that deep. Then we switch over back to the curator, who seems a tad bit agitated, but for one final time he ends up congratulating us on keeping everyone alive, and ends up talking about all the boundaries that the characters broke for themselves.
Oh, you're here. All good things must come to an end, but how good was the end for our crew? Hats off for keeping all of them alive. That's so rewarding for you. Has the experience changed them? Kate had a secret. She was traumatized by something that happened a long time ago, but she faced the thing she was most afraid of in the whole world and survived. Jamie learned that she had to trust other people and work with them, and to care for them. Mark had to stop waiting for people to tell him what to do. He had to make his own way in the world. Erin showed everyone that though she might be easily spooked, she found immense courage when she needed it the most. And it took courage to act on the feelings she had for Jamie. And Charlie finally understood that leadership is more than ordering the team around. He had to treat them as equals and let them take the lead when the time was right. I'll tackle the paperwork in the morning. Can you find your own way out? It was, as always, enlightening. I have no doubt we'll meet again in the future. Farewell.
There's when we see Dumet's mask washed up on the shore, and bro, you gotta be joking me. There's no way this brother's still alive, bro. And that's when we end up finishing there, where we have, well, we're near the end now, where we have now watching the news, in which the news is basically explaining the situation that the characters have just been in. And somehow Mr. Dumet has already found his next 5 victims, as we end up seeing these characters talk about these new characters, in which they're talking about this opportunity that they've just been given. And as the game starts to close off, if you look just into the window, you can notice that Dumet is just stood there. And that is where we're gonna end it. I'm not gonna lie, this is my personal favorite of the original anthology. That's not including Directive 8020. It has good characters, a good story, and even follows a lot of the classic horror movie tropes, like I've mentioned throughout the video. It really does it all. And like again, most people end up putting either this one or House of Ashes first. I think it kind of just comes down to personal preference. Like again, this one's more horror movie, the other one is more so a bit more sci-fi-ish, but also like ancient curse sort of thing. The game touches most of the bases that you'd have in a typical horror game, if not even in a typical horror movie. I mean, heck, the killer was a faceless killer. who doesn't talk or say anything, who even managed to make it seem as though he's teleporting all over the place. Like, this one truly hit the mark. Now, in regards to the characters, we did manage to keep everyone alive, which is pretty cool, okay? It seems as though even though I'm a fan of Belize, I don't play like him, which is honestly very much a good thing. But I also do need to mention, I could have saved the dog. See, after playing the game, I learned that you actually could have saved the dog. But, yeah, like, essentially, what was supposed to happen is that when I tell Kate to hide and I had the decision of killing the dog, if I just didn't kill the dog, Kate would have, like, Dumet would have found us, Kate would have ended up pushing him, and then we all would have escaped. So there was a possibility that I could have saved the dog. But I'll be honest, I was not risking Jamie's life over this dog. I love dogs, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'm a dog person over a cat person any day of the week, but I was not about to risk it. Either way, I know I said this for the last video, but I think I actually mean it for this video. This video probably is going to be my longest video. It's going to be pretty damn close. I'll show you the word count for this video, and I'll show you the word count for the last video, okay? I'm telling you now, this one, without a doubt, word count wise anyway, script wise, is definitely the longest. So I'm going to tell you straight up now, the next one most definitely is not going to be a long one, because Jesus Christ, this is a lot of effort, and this is like this is insane. Okay, like it's been 2 days of me recording this stuff. Like, this was, yeah, a lot of effort went into this. This is insane. So next time, let's, like, you know, next one, let me, don't get mad at me if I chill a bit, you know what I mean? Don't get mad at me if the next one is a bit more of a chill video and, like, you know, isn't an hour long or an hour plus, because, you know, let's chill a bit, okay? Either way, this has been your boy Genie, and I will indeed be seeing you guys next time. See ya.